my name is Beck and welcome to my original tag. This is supposed to be done around April and August during the year so that you can kind of check in on your reading goals, on your TBR and on your Goodreads and see what you need to read, see what you've loved and see what you really want to love during the rest of the year. So without further ado, let's get into the questions. All of the info will be linked down in the description. Question number 1 is, how many books do you think you're going to read this year? And for me, I started the year on 100 books. However, I don't think I'm going to keep the pace of reading 100 books, so I've reduced my reading goal to 50 instead. I think sometimes that's a little bit of a struggle for me as well, just because I seem to be so much busier this year than ever. So 50 is the goal for me. I wish I could get to 100, but it's only really a personal goal and I'm not trying to compete with myself. I just ideally would like to read that much because my TBR is not slowing down. So I've definitely changed mine to 50 now, but that's fine. Hopefully I can get to that. Question number 2 is, have you made a specific reading goal or target that you started at the beginning of the year that you kind of need to check in with and keep track of now? And I made a rereads video. I said that I wouldn't check in with it in terms of reacting to it at the end of the year to say, hey, I reread this, or I didn't reread that. That's not very good of me because I said that I do these things. I didn't want to check in with that video, but I'm kind of checking in with myself and seeing what I feel like reading and seeing if my mood matches any of those rereads and if I have time for them. And I actually haven't reread as much as I thought I would getting into April in this year. I reread the Assassin's Apprentice book by Robin Hobb, the first in the Farseer trilogy, but I thought I'd be a little bit further into my rereads by now. I thought I'd have Elantris and Warbreaker read already, and I haven't even touched them because I haven't had time. So I'm kind of checking in with my rereads goal, and I would like to go and re-listen to the Red Rising audiobooks as well. So I think I might listen to those after I've finished reading through the Dresden Files. We'll see though, because I don't want to hold myself to reading specific things in a specific time and then burning myself out or making myself kind of forced to read those things and then ultimately not being as interested as before. So I don't want to push it, but I also want to keep myself accountable because I know I enjoyed these things before. So reading them now when maybe I'm in a reading slump or something might help me get out of that slump. So hopefully I can reread a little bit more in the next coming months before I check in again in August. Question number 3 is, how many 5-star books have you read so far this year? And I think I've only got 2. And one of them is a Dresden Files book that I just finished called Turncoat. That is the 11th book in the Dresden Files series. The other book is Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, and I finished this in February, so it's in my February wrap up if you want to hear more about it. Usually I don't read a lot of contemporary, but every now and then I dip my toes in, and I'm so happy that I've read this because obviously it is now one of my favorites and I plan on rereading it again in the future. So maybe I should add this to my rereads video, who knows? Question number 4 is, what is a popular book that you own that you just haven't read yet? And for me, I have 2 answers for this. So the first one is Legendborn, and this is a young adult to new adult, I think, urban fantasy about a girl who goes to college and finds that there's a magical world pre-existing in the college and she becomes part of that magical world, which I love. Urban fantasy is one of my favorite genres. Fantasy is one of my favorite genres, so I'm hoping that I love this. I just haven't made time to read it because it is a little bit big and the writing is very small, so I'm kind of trying to work myself up to reading this. The other one that I have is The Witcher, and this is Blood of Elves. It's the first novel in the Witcher series, and I've heard that this one isn't as good as the rest of the series, and I was going to base my opinion on whether I liked this or not. I would continue. So I think I maybe need to revise that opinion and hopefully I will enjoy this, and I need to give it another chance after this. I've read the 2 novella collections before this and I've both enjoyed them and found them a bit okay. So this was going to be my clincher, but I think I'm going to have to change my mind. So in short, these are the 2 popular ones that I have on my TBR at the moment. I'm sure I'm going to add a lot more. I'm also currently reading The Wheel of Time, but I'm trying to make my way through that and not push myself too hard because that is a very detailed and long and winding series. And while I am enjoying it, I don't want to burn myself out. So Wheel of Time plus these 2. Question number 5 is, do you want to reread anything in the next few months? So I spoke very generally before. Red Rising would be one of them for sure. The rest of the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb, so Royal Assassin is the next one. And then I also would really love to read the Traitor's Blade series because he has come out with more work so far in his other series, the Spellslinger series. His Way of the Argosy is the prequel book to that, but he's also coming out with Play of Shadows, which is an additional series after Traitor's Blade, following some of the Greatcoat's kids in a different context. So I would love to reread the Greatcoats, but I feel like I'm not going to have time before Play of Shadows comes out. So I'm probably just going to read Play of Shadows and then go back and reread all of them, because I know that after I finish reading Play of Shadows, I'm going to want more in that voice and that tone and that type of prose. So I'm probably going to go and reread the Greatcoats after I read Play of Shadows. So definitely the Greatcoats is on my rereads list, because I would love to discuss it more specifically, but I very much read it off camera when I first got into the series and I gave them all 5 stars. So they're really worth discussing and I can't wait to make content about them, but I think they just have taken a little bit of a backseat with everything else that's been going on lately. Question number 6 is, what is a new release that you are anticipating for the second half of the year? And mine would definitely be the 3rd Skyward book. It was going to be called Nowhere, but I believe it's going to have a different title now. Brandon Sanderson has absolutely finished writing it now. It is in process to become published at the end of this year, I think in November, and I love Skyward. I found Starsight enjoyable, and I really hope that the 3rd in this quartet is really good in terms of how Skyward was really good, because Brandon Sanderson is one of my favorite authors. I'm always going to enjoy his work, but I just want that next level. Like, I want to love it, and I want to like live and breathe it and love it. So I hope that the next book can do that for me, and that's what I'm anticipating. I don't think anything else is going to be hugely anticipated for me that is coming out later. I know there's the next Aurora Rising book and there's also Empire of Vampire, but I feel very iffy about those writing styles and I've been very disappointed with specific things in the past. I'll link my Aurora Burning spoiler talk if you are interested in hearing about my thoughts about that, but hopefully it can be consistent and hopefully I end up liking them. I'm going in optimistic but also cringing a little bit, because while I want it to be good, I don't have high hopes, but I'm just going to cross my fingers and dive in and we'll see what happens when I come out the other side. Question number 7 is, what are you planning on reading next, and do you think you will give it a 4-star rating or higher? And that is the last question on this tag. For my answer, I know that I'm going to read the next Dresden Files book next, and it's called Changes and it's book 12 in the series. And as soon as I started the Dresden Files, everyone was like, you're gonna love Changes, you're gonna love Changes. And I gave Turncoat a 5 stars, and I'm anticipating that I'm gonna give Changes a 5 as well. So it is only going up from here, and I'm very pumped about it because I've been in a reading slump for like a month and a half, and so hopefully this can help pull me out of one, because it's going to be amazing. I can just feel it. My partner's already read it because we buddy read them, and he's like, you need to read Changes now, you're going to finish it in 2 days, and I trust his opinion. So I think that I'm just going to turn off everything and read Changes, because it seems like that kind of book. As for what I'm physically reading, because that is an audiobook, I am currently reading Not Eye of the World, The Great Hunt, the second Wheel of Time book, and I'm really dragging my feet on it. Parts of it I'm really enjoying, other parts are just really boring to me, or not boring, just very loaded with meaning that I haven't seen teased out, and it seems a little bit repetitive at some points as well, so I don't think that's going to be a 4 stars for me. I think that's about a 3.5. Unfortunately, not a 4 stars for The Wheel of Time, but probably a 5 stars for Dresden, both 2 very popular series, so I'm really enjoying myself over here with the things I'm reading. Hopefully you are too. If you do this tag, let me know down below. Talk to me on social media, my Twitter, my Instagram, all linked down below as well. So thank you so much for watching this video. Come chat to me down below in the comments, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.